Hi guys and welcome to another video by MentorMe's YouTube channel. My name is Ali Arvind and I'm a CFA charter holder and I've been training students for about 10 to 12 years in various college institutions, as well as I'm the founder of MentorMe Careers. And today we're going to be talking about an important topic because since the November 2022 exam has has finished, and a lot of students might be waiting for the results. However, the entire 2022, how the exams went and what the exact testing pattern has been, as to the best of our knowledge, is what I'm going to be sharing with you in this video. And to just sum up the total agendas that I'm going to be covering on this video, first is to just give you a brief idea, because you guys might be pursuing CFA for the first time and you might be just doing an ad hoc preparation and you really don't understand what exactly from the CFA Institute angle, what they exactly want to test, right? So, and that can build up what type of questions to actually expect in the exams, right? Second wise, I'm going to give you a subject wise breakup of what to focus on. Specifically, if you are a student for the FEP 2023 exam, this might be actually handy in case you want to really brush up on things probably which you have not focused on for the upcoming exam. And I'm also going to be talking about the easy marks section, which probably you can just master up right now itself and just take those 24 marks that you get in the entire paper. And finally, we'll conclude with some tips which you can actually follow for this insight. So let's get started by first talking about the examiner's point of view. Now you need to understand why the entire charter program has actually been divided into three levels, right? You could have just had different subjects for different levels, but that's not the case, right? There is a proper change in terms of the weightage at every level. So for example, if you look at the chart given by 300 hours, I like this chart because it's very easy to understand in terms of how the weightage changes and how to focus. And remember, the subject really doesn't change at any level, right? So for example, ethics is there at every level, quantitative methods is also there at every level. But you need to understand that at level 1, you are being tested for the basic concepts. Okay. Now, if you understand this very well, and I'm going to prove this with the subject-wise focus slides, which are coming up in the future, in the coming slides. So don't get panicked as to why I will not be covering in detail. I'm giving you all the details at the base level, right? So quantitative methods, for example, you can't do any analysis in the industry unless and until you know how to do the basic time value of money calculations, right? And hence, your expectation in the exam has to be for some TVM calculations, which will show up in your exams, and that's my guarantee for any student who's pursuing this exam. And second of all, a lot of students get focused too much on statistics. You're going too deep, and how does this work? But you might be losing focus on what exactly is going to come. A couple of questions on hypothesis testing, that's it. Right? But a lot of questions are going to be conceptual, understanding or basic understanding of statistics. What is Z? What is T? Right? And that is how it actually progresses, right? And that's where we move into understanding how this progresses in different levels. So for example, level 1 is just basic understanding level. So focus on the subjects which are basic. Level 2, the focus changes on application, right? Because you know the tools, you will basically learning the tools at level 1, you're learning the application in terms of analysis at level 2, and level 3, you're just bringing it all together, and then you are just trying to use it in portfolio management, right? But for example, in the same way, portfolio management, if you see at level 1, is just 5%. But if you look at level 3, it's about 35 to 40%. In fact, I would say it's 100%, right? Because all the subjects are from the perspective of portfolio management at the end. But at level 1, the objective of portfolio management is not to teach you portfolio management. They can't really teach you because you've not covered fixed income portfolio management. You don't know what is institutional portfolio management, what are the risk and return parameters used in selecting the assets, right? And hence, at level 1, the basic focus has to be on gathering data. How does the portfolio management process starts, right? So now this is where we move into understanding subject-wise what my recommendation is for you to focus on, right? So for example, now this is what I've been observing since a lot of examinations which have been going on. So in quantitative methods, Less calculations on the advanced concepts, more conceptual questions is what you're going to be asked, and that's for sure. Because see, there's a time limit to complete the exam. Now you don't. I mean, CFA exams have obviously thought through the fact that you will not having time to calculate everything, right? So more calculations expected on TVM, less calculations on statistics and advanced statistics, but there's going to be a lot of concepts which gets tested at a conceptual level, right? Conceptual questions are the questions which do not have calculation. Direct questions, for example, they might ask you what is the meaning of this, right? So if we got a z-square test, or we got a t-test square, and now this is what the standard values are, what do you say? Right? So there's no calculation, there's just interpretation, right? Portfolio management focus on understanding what is the data getting gathered at the first level, right? Fixed income, again, you're getting introduced to fixed income. This is the first time you're looking at income, fixed income, right? So from an examiner point of view, they want you to understand, first of all, how do you value a bond at a very basic level, types of bond, and what are the features of the bond. This is where you need to focus, right? In alternative investments, people approach this subject thinking that, I'm going to be focusing on the entire hedge fund industry, what are the types of alternative investments available. But you need to understand that alternative investment as an asset class is for reducing risk. So the perspective is to understand various kinds of alternative investment vehicles and what are the risk and return parameters that it offers. For example, real estate versus an hedge fund, right? So that's what the perspective has to be in alternative investment, conceptually understanding. Moving on into the other four subjects, financial statement analysis, as I said, get a strong grip of FCFF and FCFE concepts, how to calculate FCFF and FCFE from any line item, because the questions can be framed on FCFF and FCFE very easily. It's very easy to give you just a couple of line items and tell you what is the FCFE and FCFE, right? EPS, because as an analyst, if you start working in the industry after level 1, you will be coming across a lot of EPS numbers, right? And you have to know what causes dilution, what does not cause dilution, what are anti-dilutive securities, what are dilutive securities. Then also understanding a certain section of income statement called as the other comprehensive income, apart from the profit, right? Really understanding at the industry level, right? In economics, again, very basic stuffs is what usually get tested. Demand supply calculations can come up, GDP, GNP type of concepts can come, understanding various kinds of markets, because you come across so many industries. You have the auto ancillary industry, you also have the IT industry. So what kind of a market is this? And that is very useful, because when you start off as an analyst in the industry, you should know whether a company can actually maintain that kind of a market share or not. And that's the reason why that subject has been included, right? Not to bore you with economics, but to give you a tool to analyze a lot of assets, right? Corporate issuers, this subject used to be called as corporate finance earlier on. Now here, as an analyst, you have to think, right? Because if you're analyzing a company, there's so much you can do by analyzing just the numbers. So you have to move on in also understanding the management, so that you can understand the corporate policies. And that's where a lot of straightforward questions are expected in corporate governance and stakeholder management. However, calculations can definitely appear in operating leverage, degrees of operating leverage, covariance, beta. All these are places where corporate issuers calculation-based questions can be focused on. Do not forget to focus on this. Equity, again, market efficiency and behavioral finance is an important topic, because at least in the current scenario, a lot of people lose money just basis their behavior, right? And behavioral finance has gained a lot of popularity over the years. And do not try to memorize these concepts. Just understanding from an application level how people react in the market could be a good idea here. Gordon growth model conceptually is very important, because it's used in any of the models. Whether it's a DDM model or whether it's a FCFE model, it will come in handy, right? So calculations have to be spot on when you're doing, because especially when you're calculating terminal value, you should be clear which value I'm going to take, right? And finally, the last two subjects on ethics. Now, first, let me finish off with derivatives. So in derivatives, again, since it's the first time you're getting exposed to derivatives, They want you to understand, the various kinds of derivatives, over the counter versus exchange trade. What's the difference? What kinds of derivatives are available? Where are they used in risk management? Right. Also understanding the basic payoff diagrams for options. And finally, this is the easy part. I mean, why don't you just take 20% off the total marks just by spending a little more time compared to the other subjects? For example, if you're looking at portfolio management, that just scores about, about 75%. But ethics has about 15 to 20% weightage. But in 90% of the candidates I've seen, they do this preparation at the end. Why would you want to do that? I mean, it's okay in terms of, ignoring ethics, because of course I understand that it can be a little boring, but it does pay you off about 20%, weightage in terms of the exam. That's almost equivalent to what FSA is giving you, for which you're spending probably 2 months of your preparation, if in case you're starting 6 months back. So do not leave this, because ethics is not as simple as you might think. You have to focus on those minute details, because the question might appear to be very easy and this is the right answer. But trust me, there are these small lines or some data points which will make the answer either correct or incorrect. So do not leave this 50 to 20%. I believe probably a lot of students might be failing the exam just because they are overlooking on ethics and its importance. And the importance is not just at level 1, the free marks is available at level 2 and level 3 as well. And that's what I did personally in my level 1, level 2, level 3 exams. I did not in any way try to give lesser priority to ethics. In fact, it was one of my major subjects. So think logically, okay? For example, if you look at this weighted structure, you see that, it's almost even higher than quantitative methods. It's higher than economics. It's higher than probably even financial reporting analysis. So you have to take that easy marks and probably make this as the center of your preparation in the heavyweight subjects, right? For example, your heavyweight subjects are what? Equity, fixed income, financial reporting analysis, and maybe quantitative methods. You need to add ethics. So do the ethics preparation from day one with the complete seriousness which you're giving to financial reporting analysis. And I'm sure you will be able to crack the exams in the upcoming 2023 level 1 exam. And I wish you all best of luck. In case you have not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. And I'll see you again in another video.